Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Honor Radio episode number 23. And today we have a special Mother's Day show with my mother, Nancy Mathis, most of you were from her videos, and Yvonne Howerton from Just Tumble. And we're going to hear a lot about Yvonne Howerton's story here on Honor Radio.
Yay!
Okay, guys. So, Yvonne, Mom, it is an honor to have you guys on our special Mother's Day show. Both of you are cancer survivors. I want people to know your story. I want to know what you guys have, I want them to know what you guys have been through and your journey. And Yvonne, I want a lot of people to meet you because you've been a special friend to me for years, ever since Rick and I started the Honor Bowl, and I want people to hear your story. But Mom, let's start with you on Happy Mother's Day, Mother. I love you. I have a
thank you.
you, Mom.
Thank you. You. Love you too. Thank you for the roses. Yes.
So Mom, tell us about your special report on Thursday. You went to see your oncologist. Let the people know about what you heard.
Well, it was very interesting because it was my oncologist, which is the female, which is the surgeon part of it that is related to the surgery that I went through. And she read my chart. She came in and she just looked at me and she thought that she had read it, that it was last year that I had ended chemo. And she said, oh, so last year was your last year of chemo? And I said, no, it's been 4 years. I'm cancer-free, 4 years. And she said, what? I said, yeah, 4 years. Stage 4, ovarian cancer. She looked at me and she said, do you realize how big that is? And I said, yeah, I do. I do. I'm a miracle.
You gotta get some, Mom. You gotta get some.
Yeah.
So what else did she say to you? Was there anything else she said?
Well, the thing that really hit me was I've noticed that every time I have to prepare to go for the oncologist doctors, I deal with severe anger. And so I decided I was going to talk to her about it. I said, for 2 days, I have been so angry. And I said, I've noticed every time I get prepared to come in here, I get this emotion that comes over me. And I said, and I couldn't sleep last night. And she just looked at me and she said, Nancy, I want you to know those emotions are normal. She said, because what you're doing is you're facing it all over again and you're saying, what are they going to say to me this time?
Yeah, I'm sure, Mother, there's a high level of fear there.
So, I'm sorry if I'm emotional, but she's, of course I had the examination and she said, Nancy, you're doing great. You're doing awesome. And she said, I just want to tell you, feel those emotions. And so I felt like I needed to share that with you, Yvonne, because we try to be so strong for everybody, and we can't. We just can't.
Oh, Mom, powerful mother. And here on Mother's Day, to hear those words, I got to tell you, it's tearful, Mom. And so I'm just so honored to have you as a mother. And God beat this, Mom. Your faith and God beat this. Yvonne,
yes.
I got to jump right over to you, Yvonne. I want people to hear your story. You have had quite the journey, and I mean, it happened quick, Yvonne. In the past 12 months, it has been a life-changing experience for you. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I guess technically it started in 2017 when they diagnosed me with cervical cancer. And at the time it was only stage 1B1, and they figured the radical hysterectomy was going to take the cancer away and that I would be fine. And statistically I should have been. And then of course that my surgery was on July 5th in 2017. And then I go every 6 months for my checkups. And of course, my first 6-month checkup was totally fine because I wasn't thinking anything. My 1-year checkup I was nervous because they found something abnormal, and she needed to do a biopsy. So of course I called Rich right afterwards, and I was scared that it came back, but it came out negative. So then I was relieved. And then of course, my next 6 months, same thing, scared to go back, scared what they're going to say. And then at my 2-year, I was experiencing already some discomfort. And so she had done a biopsy on that one same spot, and it actually came out negative again. But because I was having pain, she decided to have me have a CAT scan. And then from the CAT scan then I needed to have the PET scan or the surgical biopsy. That confirmed that the cancer was back, and then between the CAT scan and the PET scan determined that the cancer was back and the tumors were really big. And from there I started chemo and radiation, which that was in September, and November came along and I got the call from my doctor actually while I was here in Spokane visiting my son. And she told me that it wasn't good news and that the tumors are still there, and the chemo and radiation didn't work, and they need to remove those organs. So I was getting ready to have my bladder, my rectum, and my vagina removed at one time. And they originally set the surgery date for December 31st. And with that, my husband and I took off to Houston to MD Anderson to get a second opinion. But they confirmed that they would do everything that the doctors in Sacramento or in Roseville were doing. So their protocol would be the same. And of course, we wanted to just make sure of that because I was getting ready to lose, an awful lot. And but the one thing that MD Anderson did tell me, she goes, I really just think that you should wait until February until radiation's had its full effect, and then do another PET scan. So I was pushing my doctors for that, but the tumors were so big that they just didn't think that it was gonna help. Well, I ended up, right after Christmas, I got marked for my surgeries. They, put the little marks on there and then the clear coats, so I didn't wash them off. They did change my surgery to January 7th and gave me a PET scan instead on December 31st. And that's when they told me that the cancer actually was gone in my pelvis. And then they said, but, unfortunately, the nodule in your lung got bigger because they found the nodule in my lung in July of 2019, but it was too small to do anything about it. So we had to just watch it. And the chemo that I did in September and October did seem to keep it at bay. But unfortunately, right after all the chemo and radiation was over, the tumors in my lung, I ended up with a whole bunch. I mean, my lungs were just tattered I couldn't even count when she was showing us when we were at the doctor's office. And so from there, they, of course, now I'm stage 4 and need to do the heavy chemo regimen. So I started chemo in January, and we were told like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, maybe, that it looked like most of it was gone.
Yay.
And then she said, but I want you to do 2 to 4 more rounds of chemo, blah, 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 blah. Well, less than a week later, I had another PET scan, and the PET scan showed no evidence of disease. Right after I had this
Hallelujah.
port put in. I had the port put in on Monday, and then Tuesday she tells me that she doesn't want me to do any more chemo, that I don't need it for right now. And I'm like, well, shoot, I just had this port put in, but oh well. So, you know, and of course with stage 4, they'll tell you that they feel it's going to possibly come back, and so to be ready, and that's why she wants me to keep the port in. And I'm like, well, you know what, if it tries to come after me again, I'll just fight it the same way. It's, you know, I'm not afraid. I would be really sad if it did, but I'm not afraid. So
That's great, honey.
You know,
That's great.
I got to tell you, Mom, Yvonne and you are two such special ladies, right? And I know Yvonne followed every minute of your walk as you, you know, you did your videos and you started chemo checks and started ministering to other women that were going through the same journey as you and my cousin Holly, right? And I know Yvonne was there watching it all. And then when I heard,
I'll never forget my first prayer from you, Miss Nancy, when I first found out that I had cancer in 2017. You prayed with me over the phone, and I love you for that. Thank you.
Oh, Yvonne, I love you, sweetie.
you know, so, oh God, you guys. So Yvonne finds out that she has a similar cancer to you, Mom, right?
Wow.
And then you know, we connected you guys, and you guys became close, and praying for each other and all that. And all I could say is, you know, here it's Mother's Day, right? And
Yeah.
to have, you know, it's so blessed. We are so blessed to have women like you in our lives, women out there. There's thousands and thousands of you out there, right? That are hard charging women that have done amazing things for your families, been loving moms and loving parents, and have kids all around the globe, right? And all I could say on behalf of the honor group and the honor ball and Rick and I is thank you so much for the leaders that you are and the women of faith that you have become. Yvonne,
Thank you.
when it comes to you, Yvonne, when it comes to the many young people that you touch with your business called Just Tumble, well, maybe you could share a little bit about what your business is all about. But I came to your business and prayed with you when those girls surrounded you when you were going in for your chemo, right? Maybe talk a little bit about that and how much those girls love you.
Well, they don't love me as much as I love them. But so I have Just Tumble of Roseville, which is a tumbling program in Roseville that specializes in teaching just the tumbling aspect of gymnastics, where we have a lot of cheerleaders, obviously. And then I have a cheerleading program called Golden Elite All-Stars, where I have just competitive cheerleaders in that program. And when Mark came, he came during some of our practice times with some of our teams, and all of the kids that were there came around me in a circle, and Mark and Teresa prayed for me. And it was really moving because I mean, with all the energy in the room and the kids and their love for me, and of course my love for them, and you, Mark, and Teresa, for coming down. I mean, it was a very moving experience, that's for certain. I've never had so many people pray in one circle for me. I know I've had, you know, people out and about, but in one place, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
It was really powerful to see all those young ladies with their arms outstretched to you.
So cool.
I'm starting to get emotional.
So cool.
And Mom,
So cool.
you know, and so Yvonne touches so many young people every single day. And
That's
Mom,
awesome.
what you do, right, in your place of business, with where you go and with the Gap and with, you know, Brightstone, or what's it called, Bright Bar, what's it?
Brighton.
Brighton.
Yeah, when I worked at Brighton.
So many ladies that fell in love with you through your journey, right? I mean, what do you want to say to the women out there that are hearing this to empower them and to give them some love on Mother's Day?
Oh, wow. You know, I just did a video not too long ago about this whole virus thing that we're addressing in our land today. And one of the things that God impressed upon me, because as Mark mentioned, I am a woman of faith, and I do believe what God's word. And he impressed upon me, and I believe this from the very beginning when I was diagnosed. We don't need to own a disease. No. We don't need to own it. It's not part of who we are. We don't need to own it as our identity, because God created us to be his precious daughters. And we don't need to say that we're survivors. We're not survivors. We're overcomers. We've overcome. Survivors when you think of a survivor, it makes you look like a victim. And I know a lot of people might not agree with me, but that's okay. I declare, Yvonne, you and I are overcomers.
I'll take that.
And we're going to walk with an overcoming spirit, an overcoming trust in our God, that we take it a day at a time, and we're going to overcome, and that is going to be our testimony.
Absolutely.
Powerful, Mom. Powerful. Absolutely. Yvonne, what do you want to say to the women out there that will be watching this?
Oh, goodness. Keep up on your health. Love and don't be afraid. Face, if you're fearful, it's okay. Just be brave and go through it anyway. And, I think everybody needs to make sure that they're testing, going to the doctor on a regular basis. So things aren't caught in such late stages. But if you end up going through a journey such as Nancy and I, you need to be positive. You need to trust in the Lord, have faith, and face fear right in its face,
Yeah. Mark, can I say one more thing?
Yes, Mother.
I was talking to my daughter-in-law this morning because I had been reading a verse of scripture that in 1 Thessalonians, it talks about rejoice in everything and be thankful in everything, because God will have his way and make a way through it no matter what we go through. And I said to my daughter-in-law this morning, and I said, I can actually thank God for my cancer, for the cancer. It's not my cancer because I'm not going to own it. For the cancer. Right, Yvonne? We don't own it.
Definitely right.
And you know why I can thank him for it? Because he has done so many things by bringing so many beautiful people into my life. The nurses that were angels, right, Yvonne?
Yes.
They're angels.
Big time angels.
The doctors, our family that stood with us and continue to stand with us. The love and the prayers of all the people that have prayed for us and continue to pray for us. That's why I can say I'm thankful, because it's made me a better person and it's changed my life.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely.
Okay, so let me just tell you this, guys. As a man, and I'm speaking for all the other men out there, right? We are blessed. We are honored. We will always love our mothers. And I can tell you this, that you two are two of the greatest leaders of women, of men that I've ever met. And I cannot thank you enough for being just the great women of faith that you have been to your family, to your kids, to the people that you touch every day, to the young kids that Yvonne immerses around every single day. I'm speaking for
awesome, Yvonne.
I'm speaking for everybody out there right now and saying thank you. Thank you so much for your hearts. Thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much for your leadership, because we need it. We need it today. We need great women like you today. So,
so
beyond a
sweet.
shadow of a doubt, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
bless you
son.
all. Thank you so much for being on this Mother's Day show. You guys are
Yvonne,
you,
happy
Mark.
Mother's Day.
beautiful
You too,
people.
Nancy.
And everybody, God bless you all.
Hey,
And
hey,
all
Mark.
the mothers,
Mark.
yeah, Rick.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm Rick. I'm the guy in the back in the corner in the dark behind the curtain. So don't pick the box, pick the curtain. First of all, I'd like to say, Mom, you are amazingly special. I love your laugh.
Thank
I love
you.
your positivity. I love your. I think the world of you. Second,
Thank you.
Yvonne, nice hat.
Thank you.
Absolutely nice hat. But you know, not everyone has a chance of surviving. I know that, and that's the hard thing. Nancy, you went through so much when you went through your infusions, and you were the uplifter of those nurses. They came to you and caught you to help them. That is special.
Thank you.
One thing that I'd like to do is shout out a little bit to what's going on in my life. My sister's a couple years older than me, and she's had a partner for 43 years, and Patty is now in hospice.
Oh,
It's been talking about a journey. It would be a whole book to write about and talk about what Patty has gone through. But within her ups and downs and roller coaster rides that she's had, being free, being fine, getting back. Right now, she just had I guess it, like what Yvonne said, a full hysterectomy, and during that time they found that again colon cancer had come back.
oh,
She's also she also has leukemia. So
oh my goodness.
and so she has been, and you know what's sad is that during all this time, you know, Debbie wasn't able to go into the hospital because of COVID. She wasn't able to hold her hand, but now she's home. Now she has nurses helping her. Now she can finally find the strength and the release and the hope and the love, hopefully, that she'll release and know that, you know, God is with her. And it is a journey that I mean, hey, you know, I get hit by a bus tomorrow and that would be my journey. Ouch.
Right.
But you guys, with what you've gone through, is something that, you know, none of us want. It's the same thing as what I've learned about being a Gold Star parent. None of us wants to be in that club. But you're right about your thoughts that you're not a victim. And my goodness, Mark, you're absolutely right. Happy Mother's Day, because without you guys and the unselfishness, it's a bleak world.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Rick, thank you, buddy. Powerful words from Rick Sutter, our producer. Mom, Yvonne, once again, thank you so much for being on Honor Radio 23. Happy
Thank you for
Mother's
having
Day.
me.
I hope you get plenty of roses. And and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest will be Placer County Supervisor Kirk Euler. We've got a lot to talk about with Kirk. So we'll be talking with him this week. That'll be on our next show coming up this week. But Yvonne, Mom, Rick, mothers out there that are going to be watching this across the nation.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
God bless you.
Thank you for watching Honor Radio.